Kevin, it's been a terrific start to 2018. What do you put this consistency down to that you found?
There's quite a few things. I think it's a continuation of, a lot of lessons and a lot of hard work over an extended period of time. I think as I've gotten older, a bit more experienced in many aspects, better understanding of my game. One of the biggest themes I've had, since I was a kid is always trying to improve, always trying to get better. I'm always looking, at areas in my game that I feel I can do better, and I think that's propelled me a long way. I think also recently there's been a bit of understanding, actually how good I am as a tennis player and being a bit more supportive, not being as critical, not looking for things as much, and I think starting to blend that a little bit better. I think that's definitely been a big aspect. And of course, lastly, just staying healthy. I think learned a few lessons, especially in 2016. I feel like I've managed my schedule better and better, and hopefully I'll be able to continue that, in the years to come.
Comfortably settled now in the top 10 standings. So, what sort of targets are you now setting yourself after that?
Right from the beginning of the year, my biggest goal is to make London at the year-end Masters. I think that's it's a tough goal. There's only 8 players who qualify. There's, as everybody knows, a lot of tennis players all vying for that spot. I've been pretty close on 2 occasions, so definitely want to go a little bit further. I think that's the sort of goal that you're not maybe thinking about day in and day out, hour by hour. It's at the back of your mind, and then I focus on all the process goals. I sit down with my team and sit down myself and figure out what that path looks like, and then as much as possible, I try stick to it.
Your game's better suited to hard courts, but how much do you enjoy the challenge of playing on clay?
I've always enjoyed it, a lot. I think I've gotten more comfortable as the years have gone on. There's always an adjustment period. This year I had a few weeks trying to get ready for the clay. Missed out on playing in in Barcelona. I was able to play in Estoril, very tricky match and tough conditions. So coming to Madrid, I would have maybe liked 1 or 2 more matches, but I'm feeling comfortable. I think there's a lot of parts on clay that suit my game very well. Ball sits up a little bit more. I'm a tall guy. I think that's an added bonus. The serve can move around a lot, and especially I've noticed in hot conditions these days, the way conditions are and the way the balls we're using. A clay court can sometimes even play a little bit quicker than a hard court. So. I think I'm hopefully looking forward to a good outing this year on the clay.
Yeah, tell us a bit about that match in Estoril. I mean, Stefanos has become one of the sort of form players over the last month or so on the tour. But how do you feel you're playing yourself?
It was tricky. Since Miami, I was had almost over 30 days away from competition, and it's always tricky going back for your first match, especially when you've been playing somebody who's played a lot of matches, very match sharp. And then to make things even a little bit tougher was probably one of the trickier conditions I've ever played in. I mean, incredibly gusty, sand blowing everywhere. All those sort of drills and stuff you work on during a training setting doesn't really apply too much in that sort of outing. So it was a close match. I mean, credit to Stefano. He played, very good match. I think he's sort of come onto the scene even more in the last few weeks, especially in the clay court season. I think the clay is very well suited to his game. But for my side, I think try to take the positives. I was able to get a match out there. Obviously, would have liked a few more. But after taking a few weeks off, at least I was able to get in at least a match before heading to Madrid.
And talking of conditions, explain why it's a bit different up here in Madrid. I mean, many people might not realise we're actually almost 700 metres above sea level. It does change the way the ball moves through the air, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. I mean, you can definitely tell that conditions are a little bit quicker. Hitting here the last couple of days, you notice the serve goes through a little bit more. And yesterday when I was out on the courts practicing, you see that there's not that much of a difference playing here as opposed to a hard court. So that's where I can take a lot of confidence that my game, definitely suits the clay very well. Obviously, there's the movement standpoint, but as you said, just with the altitude, the conditions can be quite quick.